Hey trainers, welcome back to the channel where I like to deep dive into the Pocket TCG meta and off-meta decks. Today we're featuring the Venusaur Powerhouse Grass deck that's all about sustain, strategy, and swift aggression. I'll be breaking it down card by card and dissecting its strengths and weaknesses and exploring how it stacks up against other popular decks in the meta. So let's go. First, let us talk about the lineup. This deck is running 2 of Bulbasaur and 2 of Ivysaur, leading to our centerpiece, which is Venusaur EX, and we have 2 of them of course. We also have 2 Exeggutor and 2 Exeggutor EX for that aggressive early game punch. And the versatile wildcard is of course Mew EX, which is ready to adapt to any scenario. For the items, we have the essentials. We've got 1 of X speed, we have 2 Pokeballs, and a mix of draw power and healing with Professor Zoak's research and Erika, 2 of each, and the clever inclusion of 1 Sabrina and 1 Leaf. So why is this deck worth playing? Well, for one thing, we have heavy sustain with Venusaur EX. With its ability to regenerate 20 HP per attack, combined with Erika's healing power, this card is a late game bully tank that can be really tough to take down. It also comes equipped with explosive early game aggression. Exeggutor EX shines with its 1-cost Seed Bomb pre-evolution attacker Execute, as well as its high damage potential of Tropical Swing once evolved, again with only 1 energy cost. Coin flips can turn the tide in your favor quickly, allowing you to dominate from the start. It also comes with the best healing card in the game. Erika's 50 HP heal is a perfect tool to sustain into the mid-late game, especially when paired with Venusaur's regen. Finally, it has versatility with Mew EX. Genome Hack allows you to mimic your opponent's best moves, giving you a crucial edge in tight matchups. Of course, no deck is perfect, so here are the weaknesses to watch out for. It is fairly setup dependent. This deck's power shines in the mid to late game, but it requires careful energy management and evolution timing to get there. It is vulnerable to Psychic meta decks. Cards like Jinx or Alakazam can exploit the high energy costs of Venusaur, dealing devastating damage based on the energy count. And of course, it is luck dependent. With Tropical Swing's effectiveness relying quite heavily on getting ahead, it can lead to some inconsistent damage output. So let's talk about the gameplay in the early game. In the early game, your goal is quite simple. You want to dominate fast. Ideally, you'll start with both an Execute and an Exeggutor EX in hand. With using a single grass energy, you can hit Seed Bomb on turn 1, and by 2, you can get in your Exeggutor EX and unleash Tropical Swing, dealing 40 to 80 damage depending on your coin flips. This aggressive start can overwhelm setup heavy decks like Psychic or Celebi focused builds. If you're lucky with your flips, you might even secure an early win or at least gain a massive lead, which will allow you to snowball into the mid and late game. Speaking of the mid game, this is where you start pivoting. Transition into the Venusaur EX evolution line and begin stacking energy. Don't be too stressed if your Venusaur takes a few hits. Erika's healing and Venusaur's regen will get you through. Once Venusaur EX is fully set up, it becomes a defensive wall, dishing out 100 damage while healing itself every single turn. Meanwhile, you can still chip away at your opponent's active Pokemon and disrupt their setup. Against grass-heavy decks like the Superior Lions, it's really recommended that you use Sabrina to help pull key pieces from your opponent's bench into the active spot, where you can blow them up and hinder the opponent's deck. Late game is all about finishing strong. Venusaur EX will likely be your frontliner, trading blows with your opponent's strongest Pokemon. The only real significant threat here is Charizard EX, which can one-shot Venusaur. That is why we have Mew EX. With Mew EX, you can use Genome Hack to copy Charizard's Firestorm ability and turn the tides with just 3 energy, effectively getting Charizard's best and, dare I say, OP move before it does. Should your opponent try and disrupt you with Sabrina to swap out your Venusaur, we do run a Leaf card. So we're ready to reposition Venusaur EX immediately, as none of our Pokemon have more than 2 swap costs. Alternatively, you could use your own Sabrina to force key opponent pieces into the active spot, disrupting their flow and again, securing the advantage. So in terms of the matchups, this deck performs exceptionally well against heavy setup decks like itself, like Psychic or Celebi builds, Blastoise EX and other water decks, as your aggressive start can pressure them into an early loss. However, you do need to watch out for high damage dealers like Alakazam or those energy scaling threats like Jinx. These matchups can demand careful energy placement and timing, and against grass meta decks leveraging Superior's multiplier, Sabrina's ability to disrupt their evolution line is absolutely critical. The other decks that can be a threat is Blaine Aggro, given that it is a fire type and they do seem to have very low cost to do quite high damage, and we are weak against fire, so do watch out for them. And there you have it. A quick yet comprehensive look at this grass powerhouse deck. It's got the aggression, it has sustain, and it has versatility, which makes it a solid contender in the current meta. What do you think of this deck? Is it still relevant in this meta? Would you tweak it, or would you just play it as it is? Just let me know in the comments below. And also, do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I love to make these deck reviews every couple of days, so subbing will keep you notified when they go live. Now, go play some Pokemon TCG Pocket or something.